We're up against a 2-term billionaire incumbent governor who makes $55 million a year in passive generational banking income. He spent $70 million of his own money to buy the seat. He holds us back on taxing the wealthy, holds us back on property tax reform, holds us back with implementing basically tax credits for working families, a whole host of things. The fact is we can do so much more.
What are your thoughts on data centers?
Data centers. So I've come a long way here. I was never fully in support of them. There was a bill that came in front of us a couple of years ago, and this was pushed by the governor. It was basically tax credits for data centers. It passed. I did not vote on that bill. What I was saying for a long time was basically we need to make sure that they are in charge of their own energy source, and that the energy source has to be renewable. But now I'm no longer there. Now I'm just saying we should have a full moratorium, at least for a year, the way that New York is doing. We know that when they come in, the energy draw pulls as much as a small city. We know that they are dirtying our water, that the environmental impacts are severe. We know this is a bubble, so they're gonna come here and then they're gonna leave and leave the community on the hook. It's very fast money for the people that have invested, but it ultimately is going to damage both our economy and our environment.
So should you be our next governor, what are you going to do about it?
We're going to have at least a 1-year moratorium.
All right, TPS has ended. Many people don't even know what that is. What is TPS and how does that affect the Haitian community here in the state of Connecticut?
It is temporary protective status. All it says is that basically, if you are from a war-torn country, a country that's deemed in some way unsafe, you can come to the US and seek refuge. You can get a social security number, you can work, you can then go out and get whatever services that you need, whether it's housing or food, and we treat you like you're just one of us, like you're an American. And this means that, you know, we are holding ourselves to what we aspire to be, which is a place of refuge.
Okay, so as of Monday, that has ended. And even right now, I've read articles of nursing homes and hospices having to lay off individuals right off the bat. An individual who is no longer able to work, what are some resources for them to feed their family, to pay their rent, mortgage? What have you heard?
Yeah, so the resources that exist, the 2 big ones, there's IRIS. They are based out of New Haven. They go north up the 91 corridor. They go up 95 all the way to New London. If you're closer here in Stamford, it would be B1C, Building One Community. Yep. And they're sort of a one-stop shop. It's not that they're gonna have all those resources available right there, but they will be able to send you to places like legal aid or attorneys that are practicing pro bono, giving you free legal advice, or if you need housing assistance, or if you need assistance because of food insecurity. These are the places that you go to make sure that you get the resources that you need.
Okay, and of these places, are you seeing that people are having to show ID, having to bring documentation? Somebody is hungry and they go to one of these places. What are you seeing?
It is the obligation of these nonprofits to protect people. And we know right now, this is a dangerous moment for the undocumented population to exist in the US or anybody on TPS status, because what the federal government is trying to do is hyper-target people that are non-white to deport them. We know this because we're trying to, by we, I mean the federal government is trying to bring more South Africans in and yet deport other people from countries that are still fairly dangerous with an unstable government. So in terms of ID, we know that people are being targeted, and these organizations are meant to protect people that are being marginalized and being targeted by the federal government. They will not be asking for ID. They're going to want to know who you are. They're going to want to have a relationship with you. If there are people that come through that will show ID, but that is not a prerequisite. You do not have to have it to be able to get resources from IRIS and B1C.
All right, so now here's where it starts to get a little, we want to know some information.
Yeah.
I met with a man last week who received a letter saying that Haiti is safe and you need to go back to Haiti. Are people able to now apply for asylum? What does that process look like? What have you heard? Yeah,
if you apply for asylum, it used to be a 6-month process. It's closer to a year-long process now. Basically, the federal government is trying to make it as difficult and as punishing as possible for people to live good lives here, not respectable lives, but lives where you can feel that all of your basics are attended to. And we here in the state, elected officials here, are doing our best to protect our friends, our neighbors, our colleagues. And we need to protect people from the federal government right now. So if anybody gets that letter, they should absolutely not abide by that letter, because the fact is that Instead of having it be immigration courts, they're now calling them deportation courts. The whole goal is to try to get rid of as many people as possible from their perspective, and we need to be ensuring that people are aware that that's what's happening.
All right, so now let's take a look at it from an economic perspective. You're running for governor. You're now looking at a workforce, a group of individuals who are in nursing homes and hospices who are not allowed to work. I mean, there's literally an organization in Westport right now trying to hire employees as we speak.
Yeah.
How is this going to affect the state?
Well, we know it's going to affect the state economically. We know the Haitian community are hardworking and they're a major part of the fabric of our community. But that also means something else specifically to me, is that we should not be valuing someone's humanity based on their work status. That a Haitian member of our community does not only have value because they are working, they have value because they are our friend, because they are our neighbor, because they are our family. And so it's really important to sift these two out. Yes, we can recognize there are going to be economic impacts, and if that is how we bring certain people on board to be more generous towards our neighbors, fine. That's not the perspective that I take. The perspective that I take is that if you want to be here, you should be here. And that just your being here, you are going to be a part of our community. And either way, you're going to be paying property taxes, you're going to be paying sales tax, you're going to be paying all the fees and fines that it takes to live in our state. This idea that there are people somehow freeloading off of our society is just factually inaccurate. People are always paying into the society, and the fact is that when you're undocumented, or even if you're on sort of asylum or TPS status, you're always going to be getting less than you actually end up even putting in. So it's really important to be grounding ourselves in the humanity of the people that we're trying to protect.
And last but not least, obviously you're looking to become the next governor of Connecticut. What is that vision that you have for our state, including these immigrants, people who are from other countries who have called Connecticut home?
Yes, we welcome people here. We build this state up so that people can feel protected and loved here, regardless of your skin color, regardless of your documentation status, regardless of who you love. The fact is that we are working to have this society here in Connecticut be one of inclusion. And what we're seeing from the federal government is the exact opposite of that. So what we're going to do is double down and make sure that the resources exist for the people who are struggling.
All right, well, you've given us a lot of great resources today. How do people get in contact with you?
So the website is josh4ct.com, F-O-R, josh4ct.com. People can reach out to me at josh@josh4ct.com.
Let's talk about energy. Talk to me.
Okay, so we have here in Connecticut, Eversource and UI. These are IOUs. These are investor-owned utilities. They are private companies, they have shareholders, and they speak to those shareholders. And what that means is that last year, Eversource had a profit of $1.69 billion, doubling from the year prior. Their CEO makes $15 million a year. If you think about why we're so expensive, the profit that's built in is a big part of this. Now, across the US, 70% of energy is distributed the way it's distributed through UI and Eversource, privately. 30% is done publicly. The state of Nebraska doesn't have IOUs. It is all public energy. And places where energy is provided publicly, it is 30 to 40% cheaper. Here in Connecticut, we have 6 towns that do it publicly. We have Groton, we have Wallingford, 4 others, Jewett City, and 30 to 40% cheaper. So here's what I'm advocating for, okay? We have to ensure that there's a public power option. That's not to say that municipalities have to take over the grid, but we give them the ability to take over the grid. Over the last 20 years, 60 municipalities across the US have tried this. 9 have succeeded, 51 have failed. Where they've all failed for one of 2 reasons. One, the grid was either bought for too much money and the debt surpassed how much you're actually saving, or 2, it languished in the courts where they were trying to value what the grid would be at market value. You fix both of these problems and have those 9 success cases by valuing at book value, not market value. So instead of saying it's worth 100 times net or whatever, you say, no, the value of this pole is the value of this pole. And since we have the ability to offer that franchise, their ability to act as a monopoly, we can dictate these things. All these things are absolutely legal. So it's a 4-part process. 1, write a law for eminent domain that values the grid at book value, not market value. Backstop this with state bonding. Make sure there's resources within COGS so that all these areas can do it well. And then basically give everybody the right to vote on this publicly as well. We don't have ballot questions here. We only have a constitutional amendment. Very long answer, I apologize, but there's a lot going on. So in Massachusetts, when they allowed the taxing of the wealthy, the reason they were able to do this is they asked the public if they wanted to do that. We don't have that same thing here. We can't say to the public, hey, do you want us to have public power? You would have to have a constitutional amendment. So within all of this, I say, if you can't do this within the legislature, I think we can, then you also have a question that goes out to the public that says, do you want to force us to do it? So there are two different tracks that we can take. Either way, the fact is that Eversource has bought up the political culture. They have multiple representatives and senators on payroll. When I got in, 3 Republican senators were all working for Eversource. The previous Speaker of the House, Joe Elliott, gets paid $50,000 a year. He's on TV trashing this campaign. I always say, judge me by my enemies. You're talking about DTC chairs. You're talking about previous mayors. You're talking about the previous leader of the party. All people that are now on payroll at Eversource. There's a reason we aren't making movement. And the fact is that Governor Ned Lamont has one plan, and that is smart meters, which blames the ratepayers that they're using too much energy. And it's also bringing Eversource in front of PURA, which oversees the regulation every 15 years to do what? It's unclear. We need big solutions for a big problem.
Okay.
And I'm going to do everything I can for your community to make sure people are safe.
Well, we hear you. Again, election day is August 11th.
August 11th.
August 11th. You want to see the change? Get out there and vote. Josh, thank you for answering our questions.
Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thanks, man.